Hello and welcome back to the MetalCon soundstage in Las Vegas. This soundstage is sponsored by Sherwin-Williams with their Metal View program. I'm Heidi Ellsworth, and I have to tell you, I'm very excited for this little chat we're going to have. I'm not going to call it an interview. I'm not even going to call it a little video. I'm going to call it a little conversation amongst friends, because I've got Brad Van Dam here from Carlisle Architectural Metals. I'm so excited. Hello, my friend.
Hello, good to see you again.
We always have the best conversations. I love seeing you. It is so much fun. So before we dive in, because you and I can just dive real quick.
Yes.
Let's start with an introduction. If you could introduce yourself, tell us about what you do at Carlisle, and maybe tell us a little bit about Carlisle Architectural Metals.
I will, thank you. And always great to see you, and I love our chats too. So, Brad Van Dam, the VP of Growth for Carlisle Architectural Metals.
VP of Growth.
VP of Growth.
It's a totally cool title.
It's a fun title. And really the goal obviously is to continue the growth in our business. Many directions. I basically run the overall sales organization for our 5 brands in Carlisle Architectural Metals. Metal Era, Hickman, 2 of the largest edge metal brands in the country. Peterson Aluminum and Drexel Metals, very well-known names and respected names in roof and wall panel, coils and flat sheets. And then our little tiny business, Citadel Architectural Products, which is laminated ACM, MCM, and glass and glazing panel manufacturing. Also one of my favorite parts of our business. It's a really cool, unique piece.
I was just going to say, I think Citadel is really cool. I
Yes.
mean, it's just so different, and it really has a great story to tell. Not that all the brands do, but it is pretty fun.
I love all the brands, and
Yeah.
you know, they each have their own unique piece. You go to market, and a lot of different areas they touch. So all 5 of those brands make up the Carlisle Architectural Metals basically group, and we serve customers from residential all the way into commercial, all the way through from your perimeter edge to roof and wall metal panel systems. So that's a little bit about it, and I came to Carlisle just over 16 months ago.
Wow.
In their acquisition of NTL Holdings.
I remember that very well. And I mean, being a Carlisle alumni myself, it is such a great move. I mean, so exciting, and bringing all of that together, because the metal is so intricate to the flat roof, to the low slope, to single ply, to everything that Carlisle's done before. It just doesn't, it's not complete without that metal edge, and now they've brought it all together.
Well, and when you think about Carlisle's transition, so our CEO often talks about how we're a building envelope company, and we've transitioned in with our CWT group, which basically is Henry. It's some of the very well-known products for waterproofing and coatings. Got obviously the commercial roofing, which has some amazing brands at commercial roofing. Now we have the metal components that basically bring that together, and you just kind of start to picture what does that building envelope cover, and start to see that the Architectural Metals Group has a very large offering to customers now in a total system. So
on all sides.
On all sides,
on
right?
All
so
sides.
It's neat to see that build happening. And to look back from my history at Metal Era and starting there in 2012, where it was perimeter edge and smaller business locally, to now the bigger opportunities.
Where you're at.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So cool. So, VP of Growth. Again, very cool title. And I want to, but you and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that, about what has 2025 looked like. We're going into 4th quarter. How are we kind of looking at ending the year, and then obviously 2026. As we were talking about, the words I hear is uncertainty. But I also have been hearing a lot of folks out on the show floor and the shows before saying they've had a good year. They're just it's still a little uncertain. So what are you hearing?
Well, I think we all got a little spoiled on the years immediately following COVID, when that demand in metals particularly kind of spiked for everyone, and commercial roofing as well. So I think a lot of what we saw was, we started to measure ourselves against some amazing years for growth and expansion, and particularly to stop looking maybe at volume growth and saw a lot of price growth and acceleration with inflation, particularly in metals. That's been a big challenge. But to your point about 25, certainly we had an aggressive growth plan going in for our business. And it has not been a simple year by any stretch. New construction has certainly been impacted by the inflating costs and a little bit of uncertainty that we talked about. There's been some amazing bright spots this year.
Okay,
right? I would
love
say,
bright spots.
as you look at the data center market, certainly has taken off. Large warehouse, we've kind of seen that in portions of our business that maybe have pushed that direction a little faster than we even expected. And I think that's been a very big bright spot, in particular for the metals, and for our area. Certainly there's been challenges this last season. We all saw kind of how residential has not had a great run, for a lot of the portion of the market. But again, I think, as you look at what our architectural metals group has done, we've pushed forward, and while growth has been harder to find, we certainly have been able to find it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a matter of kind of targeting the right places and then making sure that we're going forward with it. Going forward, what do we see? There was a recent Dodge Momentum Index that came out, which actually showed a large spike in planning, relative to Dodge. So on the new construction side, there's some bright shoots of activity and energy that seem to be going forward with that. And if that can sustain into fourth quarter, and architects and specifiers start to move that ahead, I think there's a lot of opportunity in that growth. We certainly have seen some interesting shoots on recovery, and by that I mean fire has devastated portions of our country, and there's going to be a rebuild as it relates to California and some of those areas. And so I think there's some trending, macro trending that has not changed. Certainly as the baby boomer generation continues its head towards retirement, maybe assisted living. We expect to start to see some gains in growth in assisted living and multifamily that maybe is pressured.
We still have a housing
deficit. It's definitely a housing crisis that relates to folks. So I think there's definitely some areas where re-roofing, new construction, wall, mediation, restoration starts to build up in those particular shoots. So we have hope. I think hope is hope is there. There's still some uncertainty happening relative to tariffs, trade deals, things that affect the metals market a little bit more than maybe some of the other markets.
Yeah, it's really interesting on the tariff front because there'll be lots of news, lots of announcements, and then it kind of just goes kind of quiet for a while.
Yeah.
And then everybody thinks, okay, new normal, adjust, and then all of a sudden the news cycle goes again. And I think that, personally watching it, has been tough to watch that news cycle and to see the changes as they're coming through, but we also have to live with the fact that not everything is for sure.
Right.
You can't have everything planned out for you.
When you build a house, you build any type of commercial building, you got to have a solid foundation that you build from.
Right.
And so until that foundation feels solid, particularly big trends, if you're going to have a 20-30% swing in costs, it becomes very hard to get excited. If you think interest rates are going to keep going up, maybe you start to build, but if you think they're going to come down, maybe you slow down. So I think that's an area where we need some stability to be able to build a faster growing foundation. Doesn't mean we can't continue to grow or move the market and go gain share. I think the hope is that you're gaining share in a rising market makes it a little bit easier.
It does, and I do see that need. On the residential side that you were talking about, I see that need. There really is a backlog of people wanting to buy and wanting, especially first-time homeowners, right? And they've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think once the stars align, interest rates come down. I think we're going to see this.
Well, and to your point, the stars don't always align.
Yeah, I know.
So there is some risk folks have to take, and at what point are they comfortable to do it? Hopefully on the residential side, whatever one star has to move slightly further for someone to go, it's time to buy. So that'd be ideal to see that happen. So.
I know. I think I don't know. It feels like it, but we'll see as we go through there. One of the things too that's driving, because it also it isn't just it's overall construction growing. It's also a market share thing. And so with market shares, we have a lot of different products out there competing, and metal has really made a run on the market share front due to resiliency, sustainability, just across the board. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, I had a call the other day with a partner that manufactures some components, and they were interested in seeing how they could tie into the insurance industry to help reduce overall risk. And roofing's done that for a very long time through Factory Mutual. Really on the wall front, metal side, hasn't really been as big of a portion of that reduction. There's so many resilience benefits from metal. Particularly, I talked about fire earlier. How does that play out in the recovery in California? What happens there in the future? I think those are all things to be determined. Our insurance company is going to move to mandating more fire-resistant components as a part of it, much like we saw with wind resistance for commercial roofing and Dade County and certain areas that And you and I were chatting briefly. Just because we haven't had a hurricane recently, at least in the last couple of months, and where people start to forget about the need for that resilience until it hits them front and center with an event or something that causes a crisis. Generally speaking, if you aren't planning ahead and reacting sooner, you're going to find yourself, trying to catch up, and that's not a great place to be.
No, and the insurance companies are.
Yeah,
they're looking at it.
They are catching up,
and they're catching up, and that's taken a while, but they are catching up, and I think also, we're going to see a lot like we saw in Florida, Dade County, after, let's go way back, after Andrew, right?
Yeah.
And everything started changing. We're going to be seeing that in LA County with the fires. And so it's a long game, but you're either kind of in front of it or you're left behind.
And you don't want to be left behind. Not a great place. So we all want to move forward.
I love it. I love these conversations.
Yes.
So we're going to do it again sometime.
Sure.
I think we're a little bit slower now, but International Roofing Expo for sure.
We'll see you there.
Okay, we'll see you there.
Yep, cheers.
Hey, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. We've got tons. We've got folks in the green room. We have more interviews. We're